Okay, so this is our last standard for OA, and this standard is about patterns. So here it says features to look for, which is what are we looking for, and the type of pattern. So is it a repeating pattern or is it a growing pattern? That will make sense in just a minute. And then what's the rule? The other thing with what's the rule I like to tell my students to think about is what is changing, okay? So you're gonna wanna notice what is changing so that you can repeat that change, okay? So sometimes we have picture patterns. So this is an example of a picture pattern. So we have a triangle, which has 3 sides, a square, which has 4 sides, pentagon, which has 5 sides, hexagon, which has 6. So it goes 3, 4, 5, 6 sides, okay? So now we have triangle, square. So now we're gonna have our 5-sided, so it looks like kind of a little house. Ooh, that is a terrible one. Let's see if I can fix that. Okay, and then we're gonna have, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we're gonna go with the 6-sided, okay, just like that. Okay, it's hard with the spiral there, I know. Okay, so what changed is it went from triangle, square, so like I said, 3 sides, 4 sides, 5 sides, 6 sides. 3 sides, 4 sides, 5 sides, 6 sides. And we needed to draw the next 2 shapes. So we also have to pay attention to the prompt or the question. So remember what is changing. Draw the next 2 shapes in the pattern. So this one, we have 1 circle and then we have 3. So from here to here, remember I said what's changing, what's the rule? We added 2 circles, right? Now from here to here, we added, so we have, this is what was there before, this shape right here, and it added +3. So this one is a repeating pattern, okay? So our shapes, the same group of shapes, this group was repeating. This one is growing because we're not adding the same amount every time. So if you look, there's a couple of different ways to look at this, but you see there's 1 on the bottom, then there's 2 on the bottom, then there's 3 on the bottom. So now let's do 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4 circles. And then we'll do, look at none on the second row, 1 on the second row, 2 on the second row. So now we're gonna have 3. And then this one on the third row has 1. So we're gonna have 2 on the third row and then 1 here. So now look at it, how many, you can see how, you could look at this a lot of different ways. So you could look at it by the rows, you could look at how many in one row or one like section. So 1, 2, 3, 4, you could look at it in this tallest row, how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, there's a lot of different ways. So then I watch again what changed. And this time it went up +4, okay? So now, right, because we had 1, so let's write here, 1, and then we had 1, 2, 3, and then we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This one we have 4, 7, 8, 9, 10. So see, you can see it down, you can see it by how many are added, you could see by how many we have. So now we got to do in the bottom row, so 1, 2, 3, 4, let's do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Second row, we have 1, 2, 3. Now we need to have 1, 2, 3, 4. Third row, we've got 0, 0, 1. Third row, we have 2. So let's do 3. 1, 2, 3. Third row or fourth row, 0, 0, 0. We have 1. So let's do 2. And then we got to add 1 more. So now it should be that we went up 5. So if our pattern was going to keep going, we would know that we need to add 6 to our next one, but let's count. So 5 plus 4 is 9, plus 3, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay? Now it says draw the next 2 shapes in the pattern. So here we have, let's see if I can adjust that for you. Okay, here we have 4, so I'm going to write 4 on the bottom. We got to figure out if it's a repeating pattern or if it's a growing pattern. Here we have 8 and here we have 12. So that would tell me that it's a growing pattern. We're not repeating the same thing over and over again. We're growing. Also, we're going to look at what's different. So here we added +4. And then here we added +4. So we know in our next one, oh, no, it's repeating because we're, sorry guys, we are going to repeat what we're adding. I apologize. Still sleeping this morning, okay? All right, so now I'm going to take this. I like to make one big box, okay? And this time we had 1 on the bottom, 2 on the bottom, 3 on the bottom. We're going to have 4. And then this time we had, so 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're going to add 4 again, just like that. So we should have 16. See that? 4, 8, 12, 16. So we're going to want to have 4 across, okay? You see that? Okay, and we're going to want to add 4 again because it's a repeating pattern. It's not growing like this one because I was confused. I'm sorry. So now we're going to want to have 20. So I'm going to make my bigger box. And this time on the bottom, so 1 on the bottom, 2 on the bottom row, 3 on the bottom row, 4 on the bottom row, I'm going to want to have 5. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and then 2, 4. Okay, so you can see what changed. We were adding 4 each time. So this one, let's go ahead and put it. So this one is repeating because it was repeating the same sets of shapes. This one is growing because the amount that we're adding is growing. So we can write it sideways right here. And if you need to pause so that you can fill that in. And then this one is a repeating because we're repeating how much we're adding. So there's that. So those are our visual patterns, our shape patterns, and our images. Now we're going to talk about number patterns. And some students think these are a little trickier, but we're going to look at the same things. We're going to look at what is changing, and we're going to look for the rule, what is changing. So from 65 to 61, the change is that, so I always try to think, are we going up or down? We're going down, so we're going to go down 4. Now let's look at the next one, 61 to 60 or to 57. So some of you like to subtract, some of you like to count up. So let's practice counting up. So if we're at 57, we're going to go 58, 59, 60, 61. So we went down 4. Then to 53, so 57, 56, 55, 54, 53. So it looks like we have here a repeating pattern because we're making the same change every time, okay? But let's make sure. So 53 to 49, so 52, 51, 50, 49, minus 4, and then 45, minus 4. So each time we're going to go down 4. So now from 45, we're going to go 44, 43, 42, 41. Okay, and then if we go down 4 more, then we're going to go 40, 39, 38, 37. Okay, so now this time we use the pattern to help us. Now we don't have a pattern, but we have a prompt or a question. It says, start with 5 and add 4. So the 5 is here, and we're going to add 4. So that means, and remember this one was a repeating pattern. So we're going to start with 5 and add 4. So here's 5. If we add 4, that's like our little arrow, right? Add 4, we're going to have 9. 9 plus 4, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13, add 4, we're going to have 17. 17, add 4, 21. 21, add 4, it's going to be 25. 25, add 4, 29. And then 29, add 4, 33. So you can see that time each of these I was just adding 4. That's my change, and that's my rule. So when I said what is changing and what's the rule, those are kind of the same thing, okay? Now this one, they have a blank for us. We have to tell them what the rule is. So let's see if we can figure it out. So we started with 52. We're going to go down 4. So let's, from here to here, we got to make sure, though, that it stays the same. So, because sometimes it does change. Remember, if it's a growing pattern. And then 48 to 44, we're going down again, and we're going down 47, 46, 45, 44. So subtract 4 to there. So the rule is start, because we always put where we are starting. Start at 52, and then we put what's happening. So we put a comma, and we say, and, oh, we don't have to put a comma, sorry. Not add, oh my goodness, subtract 4. So now we got to keep going with it, okay? 44 minus 4 is 40, and then 40 minus 4 more is 36, okay? This time, let's look, 12 to 17. So now we're going up. We're adding, so I'll put my plus sign. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, plus 5. 17 to 15. Oh, it changed. Look at that. Plus 5. 17 to 15, we're going to subtract 2. Oh, goodness. Let's see what happened now. 15 to 20. Oh, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Add 5. 20 to 18 minus 2. So the rule is that we start at 12. We add 5. Then subtract 2. So it's kind of like a 2-step pattern, right? So now we did subtract 2, so now we're going to add 5. So 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. So that was a plus 5. So now then, oops, sorry, that's a yucky 5. Now we're going to subtract 2. So that would be 23, 22, 21. Okay? All right. Now, another way that we can show patterns is with tables. So input and output. Input meaning this is what's going in. So we're going to look at the change. You can look at it a lot of different ways, but from here to here. So the input is 1, then it goes to 5. So that means 1. So our arrow is kind of like this now. And we could put it here, plus 4. Okay? 2. And if we go across, it's going to be plus 8. 3. Plus 12. Now, some of you might be noticing there's something else that's happening, right? It's also, you could either do it that way, or if you know your multiplication facts, you might also be noticing that you could do it this way, or it's times 5. 1 times 5 is 5, so you could do times 5. It's not both, okay? So you could look at it either way. So 2 times 5 is 10. 3 times 5 is 15. 4 times 5 is 20. 5 times 5 is 25. This is definitely our times 5s. Our multiplications are more efficient. So 6 times 5 is 30. So, but you always can add, I'm not quite sure why it says plus 7. Because that's not true. So go ahead and cross that out, okay? All right, now this one, 11 is our input. So remember our arrow is happening from input to output. So 11, so let's put minus 1, 12 to 11. And oh, can we go back over here? Let's just put as our rule, cross this out and then put times 5, okay? All right, so 12 to 11 minus 1, 14 to 13 minus 1, okay? So now 16, so we're going to go minus 1, which is going to put us at 15, and then 18 minus 1 will put us at 17. So our rule is subtract 1, okay? So now 2 to 12, it looks like we're going to do, I'm kind of looking at these other ones, so 2 to 12. So you could either do plus 10, but remember last time we kind of learned to be more efficient. So let's do times 6 and see if it keeps working. 4 to 24, it sure does. So 4 times 6, and then 6 times 6 is 36. 8 times 6 is 48. 10 times 6 is 60. And then 12 times 6 is 72. So this one is going to be times 6, okay? All right, now sometimes we turn the table, oh no,